like Joe Rogan with Jamie. It's a funny side. I didn't understand how little Joe knew about Jamie when he hired him. And Jamie stepped up and now runs one of the most successful podcasts ever. And that's an incredible kind of, and he's one of the best producers in the world now. Not to let it get to his head. And by the way, the funny thing about him,
and one of the best Googlers in the world,
one of the best Googlers. The funny thing about Jamie, this is okay. You might not like this, but what I like, I'm constantly exceptionally self-critical to a point of like self-hating sometimes. I deeply appreciate every single moment I'm alive, but everything I've ever done, I feel like is shit. And when I talk to Jamie about everything he's done, he's so, just in every way he carries himself, he's so self-critical. He's so like worried that it's wrong, it's bad. That anxious energy, I love it. Because that's how you lead to growth and progress. Like you might, like a therapist might say, that's probably not good for your like well-being. Fuck it. It's good for what's good for your well-being is to create awesome things. That's ultimately what leads to happiness, is to create the best thing you can in your life. And so when I see that in somebody like Jamie or anybody I talk to, when you're really self-critical, that's a good sign to me. Is that ridiculous?
No, it's not ridiculous at all. And it goes back, you were the way you were phrasing these questions about what makes a good person and what makes a good leader, the way you phrased them kind of eliminated the normal answer that I give. The normal answer that I give, you ask me what makes a good leader, what makes a good person, is being humble. So when you're going to hire someone for your startup or whatever company you're creating, that is a key characteristic to look for, is someone that has the humility, like young Jamie, to say, yeah, I could have done this better, and here's what I can improve, and here's what I need to work on. When you have somebody that thinks they know everything, out of the gate, you're already got someone that's going to be hard to deal with. They're going to be hard to coach. They're going to be hard to mentor. When you have somebody that's truly humble, you barely, again, it's minimum force required, because when you say to Jamie after a show, how do you think that went? He says, well, I did this wrong and I didn't have this set up in time. And you don't barely have to do anything, because he's got the humility. If you got someone that's a big ego and you say, hey, how did that show go? He goes, I went awesome on my end. Now, guess what you have to do? Now you have to start applying force as a leader, which is expending leadership capital, which we don't want to do, because we always try and conserve our leadership capital as much as we possibly can. And when we have to expend it just to get Jamie to make some improvements, that's bad. Mm-hmm. So when you go looking for people, look for people that are humble. Now, does this mean you look for people that don't have any confidence? No, that's not what I'm saying. There's a balance to all these things. That's the dichotomy of leadership. But people tend towards, and look, I work with a lot of military troops in the past. Now I work with companies. The reason I talk about humility all the time is because for someone to get into a leadership position in the military, they have to have confidence. So the tendency is that their confidence is going to outweigh their humility at some point. Mm-hmm. Same thing with civilian companies. If you get to a point of leadership inside of a company, you have to have confidence to get there. You don't get to a position of leadership inside of a company lacking confidence. So the tendency is for confidence to grow a little bit too much. And we have to put that confidence into check. We have to put that ego into check. Really good leaders, they're confident, but they're humble. That's the balance of the dichotomy.
Hear that, Jamie? Don't get cocky.